Here we are live again. It's Warren Whitlock with Thomas Mangum, and we are going to get connected and help you connect. Hey, remember, if this show is about connecting, building networks, and building real connections, real relationships. So if that isn't your goal here, let us know why not. And if it is your goal, and you think there's something in particular you are hoping to get more out of this, leave us a comment. And of course, if you love us, share. That's the best thing we can hope for. And so today, I'm going to start off with a quote, as we said in the show notes, that I saw from my friend Declan Dunn. He was posted over on Facebook, and I really liked it. It resonated with me as something as a different angle of thinking about some of the stuff we talk about. Remember that self-doubt is as self-centered as self-inflation. Your obligation is to reach as deeply as you can and offer your unique and authentic gifts as bravely and beautifully as you are able. That's by Bill Plotkin. So today we're talking a bit about are you offering your best gifts, and so let's go right to the man who does, Thomas Mangum. Hi, Tom.
Hey, Warren. Always a privilege to be over here and collaborate.
So I don't know. There's something I think about all the time. I think about as I see some object up here on a shelf that I probably should have removed before starting. Is this my very best I can do? You know, the orange T-shirt was a statement today. It's the let's see if we can. What do I do? Stand up? There we go. This is the logo of Where the Hell is Matt, who travels the world dancing with people. How about that for a business? But, you know, I think about it, boy, would the show work better if I put on a tie and jacket? And then just in delivering services in general. I have a problem that when I get working for a client on a consulting gig, I'm all in. It's in my thoughts, you know, all day, all night. Whenever I think about it, I'm trying something new. I'm extending things, and recently looked at some things where I was, you know, cutting my hourly rate down to below minimum wage, working on a project because I believed in it. I'm at times so grateful to be able to do that, and at other times wondering, like, is it my best? Is it focused on the very best things? And so, and it doesn't matter whether or not you're talking about overstepping what you can do or not wanting to do anything at all, or as he said, self-doubt and self-inflation. I thought that was interesting. Thinking you can do more than you can do would also be a problem. I know what your answer is, Thomas. You're going to go with the flow. What have you got to say about that quote?
Well, I mean that's one thing. I got to be straight up. I mean, when I first read that quote, I'm like, what the heck does that mean? Mm-hmm. And then I'm sparked off. It's funny. You ever read something and logically you don't really understand it because you're trying to filter it and process it, but something resonates in your heart, in your gut, and you're like, I don't really know what that means, but here's what I do know. And then someone says, oh, you totally understand what that means. But it was being read by your heart or your gut and that kind of thing, which, as far as I'm concerned, is something that we should be using a lot more of, especially my highly analytical friends and associates and folks that are watching, is that are you overanalyzing something that doesn't need to be overcomplicated? It's really simple. This is an example of doing this show. Warren and I do a lot of thinking offline, even with a show like this, and we're like, oh my gosh, are we doing the right thing? Could we do this better? Should we be monetizing this? Should we be selling sponsorships? You know, why don't we get likes over here, but then we get these comments over here? And there's so much analytics and things you could do, and we also do the show because it's falling forward fast is what I really think is very, very powerful. To become a really great connector, to really truly learn to connect, you must use your gut to a large degree. Now that's not just, you may not be me and go out there all willy-nilly, you know, flying in the wind like you're naked and you just do whatever. and you're not afraid of a whole lot of stuff, should you have a strategy? Sure, you should have a strategy. Most of us overcomplicate, Warren. Most of us overcomplicate and plan, analyze, and never take any action. We need the feedback. So it's like you and I. If we're not getting enough feedback, if Warren and I aren't getting enough feedback, this is kind of an example, using us as a case. If we're not getting enough feedback, as far as I'm concerned, we're still holding back from our gifts. We're still, and Warren, you may disagree with me, but I'll take this on 100%, is that I think sometimes it's still playing too nicely. Is because you and I know the power of one connection. You and I both know, and have had people contact us, of guys that are they're scared of making, of how to walk into a networking meeting or to pick up the phone with Kevin or some, different people out there, like, oh my gosh, what do I have to possibly offer to them? But Warren, you're a little bit, I think you're a few years ahead of me even, and already I'm getting to that place of what the heck am I doing with my life? I think I'm still in third gear, second gear. It's like I want to be used up, and that's going to be taking bigger, bolder actions. Does this come back to Declan Dunn's quote? It's like this self-dealt crap. You got to let that one go.
Yeah, and well, it's and a basic Mark Twain quote of 90% or whatever number percent of the things that I worry about never happen, and I think that's what the self-doubt was talking about. I thought it was also important that he included that also can what Plotkin said was that also can come with self-inflation, because I have met somebody who just thinks they're just doing fantastic with networking, and get so confident, I'm going to do this and do that. I'm the kind of person that if we get into a discussion and talk about a rocket launch and how we'd go about getting that done, I can see it happening. That vision thing is easy for me. And so I've got to be careful that I don't go out and say, well, sure, we can do this. We're going to do A, B, C, and everything. And I think reality is what you want to get at, is that I know that my expectations aren't always going to be met. I also know that I'm going to do good enough. And so the time I spend, which is way too much for me still, worrying about those kind of things, is just wasted time. And I don't think it's a matter of talking about how overanalyzing why I'm doubting myself too much. That brings on more of the same. I'm worried that I worry too much. I think though that it's something that's ever present, that we have to think about: are we giving our very best? And one of the ways to tell, if you're watching and you're at this point and you haven't left a comment, I'd really like to know why. Will you leave me a comment and tell me why you've not left a comment? Because I like the feedback loop. More importantly, I'd like to figure out how I can help you. And I can't do that if I'm here, pontificating and showing off my latest orange shirt, and it's not reaching you. If it's resonating, I want to know about it. If it's not resonating, I want to know about it. I think, though, the reason I really want to know, when I'm logical and rational and thinking it out, is that I really want to know so that I can increase how I'm doing. I feel good about what I'm doing. I'm going to be here anyway. I know what the value is. What I want to know is whether or not you value it, and I mean all the listeners.
Yeah, I think it's really good. To be I look at connectors out there, the people that I learn from. And when I say connectors, I mean those networkers that truly are there to forward the person. They're not just forwarding business, they're forwarding the person, really helping that person move their game forward. That's what I consider a connector. Is when I look at what's going on out there, is to become a master in whatever we're doing. Whatever. I mean, we could take this away from connecting and networking and put any topic in there, is that you must continue to be open to learn. And I know that I'm certainly here and always open to learn. The most dangerous times I've ever noticed in my life is when I get kind of comfortable and sitting back of like, oh yeah, I'm a really great connector and all that kind of stuff. That's a dangerous place to be, my friend, because the world's always changing. And if you've ever taken martial arts, you know that Mastery is a journey. It's a path. And the only way to move along the path of mastery and get better and to become more of a master is to always continue to learn. And it's why, I think that's why when we make videos and we do shows and calls like this and tell you what's going on, is because I think you need to see that. It's not doubting, I think what we can produce as connectors, and the results that we can create. It's showing you that it's not like you arrive and then you're there. One of the biggest questions Warren I used to get with, I remember I got initially when the Becoming a Masterful Networker course launched, was someone asked, and we addressed this in the course too, at the end it says, hey, when do I know I'm done? When have I arrived? When have I become a masterful networker? Your job is never done. Sorry, Charlie. And if someone, is like, what? Well, I don't want to keep learning and stuff like that, you're in the wrong game. It's the wrong attitude.
You know what? You know somebody hasn't arrived if they're asking that question. When am I going to arrive? That's so one of the big learnings. I'm reflecting on what you said and just thinking how important that is. The simple concept that to become a master networker, master connector, master human being at anything, is to learn that you aren't perfect and you are going to continually improve. That's that alone is going to set anybody apart. And I don't know if it's because I'm sitting here looking at a screen with a messy bookcase behind, or currently the guy that's on the camera and worried about what I look like. But those are minor things. Am I really saying something that's going to be able to change somebody's life, change their business and get better results? And I think what you just said about becoming a master is becoming a master learner is, gosh, really poignant, really important. And the flip side of that is, if you're watching and you're saying, I'm not getting anything out of these guys, part of that could be resonance. But I'm going to assume we're in today, 15, 20 minutes into doing this today, those people tuned out. The people who really it doesn't resonate at all with them already said, this is just a pile of crap, I'm moving on. What I'm talking about, the people who are saying, but I've been watching, I've been paying attention. I feel good about what Thomas says, like you said about the quote. I feel good about this. I know it's the right thing. But what he's saying, what are the action items? What can I do? Well, that's natural, because we're talking about things that are habits and lifestyles and philosophy, things you choose in the way that you are, the way that, the way you want to be, are not action items that you put on a checklist and say, I'm done.
Yeah. Warren, you put up something, Warren, on the picture that was very impactful this week, and I know it's from the Billions Rising project, and it touched my heart because it reminds me is that all of us have a vehicle. You might be a real estate investor, you might be an internet marketer, online marketer, network marketer. You may be a social media expert, you may be a dentist, you may be a doctor, you may, what have you, seriously. Anything, any of the above. And I think we all have to remember is, let's just pick on the dentist, for instance. The dentist is like, listen, I need to build my business, I want to feed my family, I really want the good things in life and all that. And ultimately, why are you doing it? Why do you want more of that money? Why do you want to connect better? Why do you want to network better? Why do you want to bring more business in? Well, so I can create a better life for my family. Then what? Well, I want to have more money to do good in the world. Ding, 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 ding. I mean, most of us want to create a life of meaning, want to live a life of meaning. All of us have a vehicle. Warren and I make money off of books and the consulting and things like that. You make money through being a dentist, being whatever you're selling. Those are just vehicles, my friend. They are important. They're very powerful, but to what end goal? And so it kind of comes back around. So when you think about becoming a more masterful connector, a network, or what have you, we're not talking about you being me and you. It's about forwarding whatever game you got going on so you can do whatever kind of good in the world you want to be doing. And I think that's a good thing. So when we shy down from reaching out to people, when we temper the message and filter the message and hold back on that passion, it's what's the word I want? Man, choking on the word there. I'll go back to this. I want to go switch gears a little bit to this. I heard this quote once, Warren. Maybe you can help me with this one. Is your gifts are God's gift to you, and your gift back is to make best use of those gifts. Something like that.
Okay.
Best
And
use
sharing what you have. I mean, it's the basic parable of the talents that saying I am blessed that I have this. Let me go stick it under a mattress. um, is not really gratitude for what you have. Gratitude is then sharing, and today in the digital world that has changed so much. I remember as a kid learning about the concept of a talent being money from the biblical story, and that some people would take that and hide it. I don't want to lose what I have, and others would go out and multiply it. Well, that's not like good business, getting an ROI, that sort of thing. But then as I've learned that other things to be shared, especially in a digital age, when if you share something, you still have it, that, you want, the more you can share, that's how you increase the value of what it is. And, it like dwarfs anything you could get from the miracles of, the feeding with bread and fishes stories. Those are great. I mean, that's fantastic. The spiritual lesson in there is wonderful. But think about today that, I have a good message, and I went out and shared it with 1,000 people, and I still have the message, and there's still another 1,000,000 people to share it with. And focused on that is great. One of the problems I get into sometimes is that I get not even problems. Just one of the situations I put myself in is I'll work really hard, and I mean like doing stuff. Like I've got 17 windows open. I'm connecting. I'm sending somebody an email, following up to give them something I promised them, plus a little something extra. And and then I go over to Twitter and I retweet something because it's nice to do. And I connect with a friend on Facebook, and I come and do the show with you. And at the end of the day, I'm exhausted, but feeling great that I've done the good things. And then I'll look at my calendar and see that 3 hours straight I spent working on a project that I thought I was really engaged on, but then there's a software tool for $10 that would have done that for me. Mm-hmm. There's always something to do. There's always a way to perfect, to give more. And then one of the learnings I'm getting is some of that is in the perception of what you're giving. If I go ahead and send you a email blast and it goes out to 10,000 people, you may look at it and say it's another email blast and more didn't put any effort into that. If that message is come buy my stuff, well then probably I didn't put much personal effort into it. But if I've identified that you need something the other 9,999 need, and then I've sent you a copy of that email because it's just the right message, I'm fulfilling my message, and I'm fulfilling my mission by sharing that message. So a lot of this is not, is there a technique to do? Is there a tactic that's going to work? Can I amplify what I'm doing? Can I buy a bot to do my networking? No, that's not what it is. But there are tools and processes. And some of the things I'm talking about, when I mentioned the $10 tool, I'm not talking about I went out and found on some forum somebody said I installed this and I suddenly made $1 million. No, that's not what it is. It's that I through a concept of doing the same thing repeatedly, 1,000 times, figured out that, wow, I could be doing my mission better if I did X, Y, and Z. And then I look at the automation of the thing. And it's always going toward my mission, which is, connecting people and serving them.
And so I want to step up the game, and I'm making it a commitment on this public show. Is that I wrote a course. Actually, it was somebody else actually came up and actually kicked my ass to actually create this and make this course, and it's called the Becoming a Masterful Networker course. It's at becomingamasterfulnetworker.com. And here's the thing that I commit to working with Warren on. Maybe we do a special series of shows here, maybe even labeled something different. Just telling everybody right now. So Warren, I tell you what, if we want to take these apart, I want to use, I'll do whatever I need to do to help someone forward their game when it comes to creating strategic relationships, opening the door to these connections. It's not about just becoming a masterful networker, it's about forwarding your game. You're watching right now, it's about forwarding whatever you have going on. I promise you, I guarantee you that we can forward your game. Here's the trick, though. Here's the trick. You cannot sit there and watch a show or learn something and go, okay, well, why isn't money flowing into my wallet? Listen, I can open up the door. I can guide you. I can take you by the hand. I need your commitment to not just listen and learn, but to actually go out there and do something. Seriously, you need a hug one day? Fine, I'll give you a virtual hug. You need a kick in the butt? We'll give you a kick in the butt. If you're wondering, well, I need to know the best opening line. I need to know, so I don't want to look like a fool, so I want to know what's the worst opening line. What do people do that's stupid, that wastes their time? Fine, we're going to go over that. We'll give you very, very specific examples. You got some.
Well, one of the things people do that waste their time is looking for lists of the stupid things other people do.
You know, and so I mean, it's funny because let's deal with whatever is in the way, because yeah. I'm going to promise you right now, and almost like I hear myself saying, and it sounds kind of arrogant, but you know what? It ain't arrogance. It's straight up. I promise you it'll happen, because I got the testimonials to prove how much money I make for people. So let's break it down and create a plan for you as well. So if you want to hold me to that, Warren, brother, I'll break down everything we need to break down.
Let's do it. I'm enthused, excited, and that's wonderful. Sorry that my first reaction was the joke about the list of things, but no, you're right. The course you're talking about, we've chatted about that before, and I think that's something to do. My commitment is I'm going to really do something about it, because sometimes talking about it. For instance, you mentioned it last week. I didn't go over and take a look at the course and say whether or not we should be doing more of that on the show. Now I'm realizing, and my commitment is I'm gonna do what it takes. We're gonna get into that. That's starting with the next show, that's something. It brings up something that I've been given a lot of thought to, and I'll just mention here to close out that I go to some events that are labeled how to make money in real estate, how to close more, how to get yourself online and get $1 million worth of followers tomorrow. And you know, they're chock full of great information. The cynic, which I can be at times, the cynic looks at those things and say, like, yeah, right, there's not gonna be any new information there. And then there's the people that I run into there that say, yeah, you're doing that social media stuff, but is it making you any money? And I'm thinking, like, we're talking about the wrong subject. When I go to a seminar on how to invest in real estate, they better have some information on real estate somewhere in the presentation. But if what I think I'm getting out of it is what I sit in a chair and listen to, I've got the wrong attitude. What I do when I go to something like that is I'm trying to think, where can I find the person that's actually doing something that makes a difference? Now, obviously, one of those things might be they're investing in real estate and I can learn or partner with them. But beyond that, where's the person that is actually, you know, building the school in Kenya, doing, you know, helping out their local community, you know, raising wonderful kids? Those are the kind of things that excites me. Just the other night, I talked to a guy in his technology. I could go on for 20 minutes about how wonderful his technology was. What we spent the time talking about is how cool a program that his kid's involved with in the 6th grade, and how excited he is to do that. And we were interrupted by his kid sending him a text saying, Dad, can you come home? I want to do this and do a better job at this. So excited about school. And we talked about what it takes to get kids that excited. I held back on my normal rambling about what's wrong with the education system. I didn't ask to, you know, go tour his facility and see how neat it was. We were connecting human to human, and I felt like I left there with a new friend. It's cool that the friend has a multi-million-dollar business I want to know about, but what was important is that this person was not some two-dimensional cutout of what I think business ought to be. Can I make money with that guy? Absolutely, it could happen. Do I care whether or not it happens as my first step? No, because I connected with a human being who's moving forward, moving where I want to be. And I think that's what we want to do here. We want to help people take the next step, move forward. So tune in next week, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks.
Bye.